Welcome to the second live streaming session for disabled people. It's been pretty wet and wild in our part of the country, and I've just driven back from Palmerston North after a relatively interesting 24 hours. So I've been part of an interview panel today, and one of my colleagues on the interview panel was flying in from Christchurch, so I left Wellington at 6:30 and had a straight through drive to Palmerston North and arrived at 8:30. Unfortunately, my colleague who was coming in from Christchurch and who should have landed at 10 to 8 in Palmerston North didn't have quite as easy a time, with the plane circling 3 times, not being able to land, being diverted to Wellington, and then having to catch a bus up to Palmerston. But
we're just going to have to rejoin. So I've just rejoined. So just cut out the connection. So if you just want to introduce yourself again. So I apologise.
Hi, welcome to the second live streaming session for disabled people. Unfortunately, we've just had a minor technical issue and we cut out. We have moved off site to try and stop these technical issues happening, so we hope it won't happen again, but our sincere apologies for that. We are doing our best and have to keep changing technology options to adjust to whatever's our particular issue of the day. I was just talking about that I'd just come back from Palmerston North and about the horrible weather we've been having, and an eventful trip for one of my colleagues who ended up not landing in Palmerston North last night and circling 3 times, and then having been diverted to Wellington, having to catch a bus to Palmerston North and arriving 12:30 this morning. So that was a bit of an interesting start to the day of interviews. The real exciting milestone today is that we have started to advertise for the Disabled People and whānau Supporting Team. So today we have put out an ad looking for a manager for the Disabled People and whānau Supporting Team, a network builder and connectors. Just a reminder that the network builder and the manager roles are based in Palmerston North, but all of the connector roles can be based anywhere in mid-central region. So we are looking for people who can cover Dannevirke and Feilding, Levin and Otaki, and of course Palmerston North. So one of the things we are looking for are people who have lived experience either as a disabled person or as a family member. So please think about whether that would be, particularly if you're in Palmerston North, whether that is something you'd be interested in being a connector. So the applications close on the 2nd of July for the manager role and on the 6th of July for the connectors and network builder role. You can find the link to the adverts and where to make an application on our website, on the Enabling Good Lives website as well, www.enablingoodlives.co.nz, and it's also on the ministry's website, www.moh.govt.nz. So we look forward to receiving lots of applications for those roles. So I've got a prepared question that's come in, asking how the system will work if I don't want to use a connector. So people have the options of whether they want to use a connector or not. And if you don't want to use a connector, you can come in and talk to somebody face to face. That will be a disability information person, or you have the possibility of either talking to us via email, phone, or virtually. So there'll be a range of options, but we'll be providing you a lot more information prior to the 1st of October. So in the lead up, we're planning to start sending letters to the people who are currently accessing support in mid-central region, and anybody who wants to know whether they're eligible will be able to contact the current existing NASC up until the 1st of October. So contact Enable if you want to find out if you're eligible for disability support services. But up to the 1st of October, we'll be sending out information, including letters, to all of the existing disabled people who are accessing disability support, and we'll make the information available on the website closer to the 1st of October, exactly how you can get in touch with us from the 1st of October. I've had another pre-prepared question from Tama. How does this align with the Treaty of Waitangi and the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, persons with disabilities? So we are 100% committed to making sure that we meet our obligations under the Treaty of Waitangi, and part of what we're trying to achieve through system transformation is ensuring that there are options that work for people who would like to take a Te Ao Māori perspective to their support. And so we've done some work locally in terms of the mid-central region, looking at what it would look like coming from a Te Ao Māori worldview. And we have 3 mana whenua members on the regional leadership group who are providing us feedback on how we are going in terms of ensuring that every aspect of the prototype will work for Māori. We're also working with organisations like Kapo Māori, and we're also using talking to the Te Ao Marama group that provides advice to the Ministry of Health about how to meet the needs of tangata whaikaha and their whānau. There's also one working group that's having a look at how do we provide a whānau ora approach that covers whānau ora and the Transformed Disability Support System. And we're looking forward to getting a report from that group in the next few weeks. I've had another question from Jasmine. Will the money we get from the new system impact my benefit? So just a reminder, there'll be a range of options about how you can manage the money. One of the options will be to be able to manage the money yourself, but you don't have to choose that option if you don't want to. At the moment, we're doing some work and going to go to Cabinet and get some decisions around some of the sort of questions or things we've learnt from the other demonstrations about what we need to do to make sure that people's disability support doesn't get counted as income for tax purposes or for eligibility for other government assistance. So we haven't got all of the answers yet, but that is something that we're working through, and we'll be going to Cabinet to seek decisions at the end of July. Really like to welcome anybody who's out there and who's watching this at the moment, and really encourage you to send any questions. If you can just type them into the live stream. At the moment, we are unable to access our ST feedback email address, so it would be really good if you typed it into the live stream. This is your time to ask any questions. I may not be able to answer everything, but I will do my best, and if we can't answer now, we will provide that information when we have it. So I have got a question that was sent in via ST feedback. Will I get support so that I can go out at night? We are still working through exactly how the funding allocation processes will work, and that is something that we are taking to Cabinet to get agreement to over the next couple of months. But what we're looking for in the new system and in the new funding allocation processes is to really build on people's strengths and ask what's important to you. And if having support to go out at night is important to you, then that is something that we will work with you to see how we can support you to do that. I've had a question from Quinton about, will I have to change the staff I currently have? I really like them. So you don't have to make any changes to your support arrangements if they're working for you. So just a reminder that although everybody who is in the Mid-Central region will be part of the Transform system on the 1st of October, that doesn't mean that anything changes for you. So the support you're receiving on the 30th of September will be exactly the same support that you receive on the 1st of October. And you can continue to have your current support arrangements until we come up to a check-in point, which is your normal review time, and even then your support can continue, but we'll be contacting you to see whether what you've got in place, well, to talk to you about what's available to you in the new system, what are the opportunities, see whether you want to talk to a connector, and to talk about whether your support is working for you at the moment. What are you wanting to do with your life? What support do you need to get there, and to help you to put that in place. So if your current support and your support workers are working for you, then there is no need to change that unless you want to. Another email that's come in from before is, how will I know what my budget is? As I said before, we're still working through exactly how the funding allocation processes will work, and we're taking that to Cabinet later over the next couple of months. But what we are imagining is that you can choose to work with a connector or not with a connector. But if you work with a connector, that they will talk to you about what it is, what do you like, what are you good at, what do you want in your life, what support do you need to get there. So imagining what you want in your life, but also talking about what support and what are the options for support. And then being able to, the connector, taking that information to a funding coordinator. You can attend that meeting if you wish to, and they will be able to tell you what the funding allocation for you is. If it doesn't cover all of the things that you've talked about, then you will have the chance to say how you'd like to use the money. So the decision will always be yours about what's important to you from a support perspective. A question we've had from Josh is, I want to move to Mid-Central after the 1st of October. Will I have to wait until I see someone, as I will be new to the area? So anybody who is new to the system will contact us, and we will arrange for them to meet a connector if they would like to do that. What I don't know is how many people are going to want to work with a connector on day one. And so we will be communicating more close to the time about how many people connectors can work with at a time. Remember, we'll have 3 types of connectors. So there will be connectors who are employed in the Disabled People in whānau supporting team. There will also be some NGOs who are contracted to provide connectors where they don't provide any other disability support. And in particular, that might be where they have cultural expertise, for example, a whānau ora NGO, or potentially a deaf NGO. So there will be that option. And the third option is, if you have somebody in your life who you think would be a good connector, you can contact the director or the manager of the Disabled People in whānau supporting team, and they will arrange to meet that person, check that they've got all of the skills that are needed, and then you can use that person, and they will be paid to do that. So there'll be 3 options. But going back to, because we don't know how many people will want to make changes on day one, we'll be making sure that the community knows how many people we can work with at a time, and we will keep people updated in terms of whether there's capacity or not to meet connectors. One of the things we don't want to do is to rush the process. So that's one of the things that we've learned from looking at what happened in Australia, is that it is really important that we make sure that we do a quality process and spend the time that we need to with disabled people and families to understand what they want, to talk through their aspirations, and to talk about what support they need to get there, what are the options to achieve that, and to assist them to put those in place. Once again, just really encourage you to send in questions, and we've now posted the link to the jobs in the chat, so hopefully you can see those. So for people who've just joined us, we have advertised today for roles within the disabled people and whānau supporting team. So the roles are for the manager of the disabled people and whānau supporting team, and applications close for that role on the 2nd of July. For connectors, kaitohono, and those jobs are across the region, and for the network builder. The network builder is a really interesting role. It is looking at understanding all of the peer networks that are available for disabled people and whānau, and keeping that information updated and being able to make sure that information is available to disabled people and whānau about what are the options for networks in the area. And that might be a face-to-face network or a social media network, and having the information to help people connect to those. But that network builder will also be looking at what's available in the community and be keeping information up to date about community networks and community options, and be an expert in safeguarding and supported decision making. So I think it's a really exciting role, and if you're interested in that role or the connectors kaitohono roles, applications close on the 6th of July. I have got one from somebody that I'm sort of going, is it really a real person given that they've got the same name as me, but great name. Are there any plans to get more help for children with CP and PAMI? So we are looking at how we make the system work for children and for families with children, and there are a range of things we're doing there. So in particular, we are looking for connectors who have experience to work with families and children of all ages. And also we are looking at working with all of the government agencies in the area to try and bring the support for children together. So currently there's support available through the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, but you often have to go to two different places, and it isn't as well as integrated as it could be. So we're looking at how we can try delivering that support in a different way. And we're really interested if there's any whānau with young children who are interested in providing us information about their experiences, please do email us to stfeedback@moh.govt.nz. Devon has just asked it, not sure if it's been asked, but how will the new system work with regards to supported employment? So one of the things we're still working through, and we'll be getting decisions from Cabinet before we go live on the prototype, is what funding comes across from other government agencies. And that includes supported employment funding from the Ministry of Social Development. But in the system, one of the features is to have connected support across government. So what we're looking at there is that there will be one place where you can find all the information about what support's available. So there will be information on our website about supported employment, what are the options, how can you get access to it. And also the connectors will be able to link you up and take you to meet the supported employment options in your area. I've just been asked a question from Joanne about how can we be sure there will be enough connectors. The short answer to that, Joanne, is that we don't know, and that's part of why we're doing the try, learn and adjust approach. So we've based the number of connectors on looking at what's happened internationally in terms of how many people have taken up those sorts of roles when systems have changed. And we've added a bit more on that. And we've looked at also that we expect that almost everybody who's new to the system will use a connector. So we've done the numbers based on that, and we've also ensured that there's resource too for connectors to do outreach work. But it is a try, learn, adjust, and what we will find out is by looking at this is exactly how many connectors do you need. And so then we'll be able to refine it, and that will be part of the advice we'll give back to government in late 2020. one of the reasons for having the 3 options for connectors is that if we do find we haven't got enough in terms of employed connectors, that there are other options to fill connector roles through the NGO contracts and also through people within people's connections. But that will be one of the things that we're really looking at and trying to test through the prototype. I've just had a question from Jane. For Mid-Central, will people have the choice to choose a connector with the skill or full experience with the deaf culture and sign language? So in terms of that, Jane, one of the things is we'll need to see who applies for the connector roles, and we will be looking to try and get the greatest range and diversity of skills and expertise. But if we find we can't find somebody who has that experience of deaf culture, what we will be doing is ensuring that we have cultural expertise from a deaf perspective for all connectors, and also look at the possibility of having a contract with people who could provide that experience in terms of being able to provide connector support that takes a deaf culture perspective and is a New Zealand Sign Language. Whatever we have, there will always be the opportunity to access New Zealand Sign Language interpretation when you're engaging with the Transform system, and we will also have access to advice about how to ensure that things are culturally appropriate for deaf. But the thing I could ask you to do is, if you know people in Mid-Central who have the skills to be a connector and have experience of deaf culture and are fluent New Zealand Sign Language users, please encourage them to apply for a connector kai tūhono role. Just a reminder that those applications close on the 6th of July. Thank you everybody for questions, keep them coming. Just talking a bit more about the connector kai tūhono role. So we've talked about, that people would like there to be one who comes from a deaf cultural perspective and who can use New Zealand Sign Language. We're also really keen to get people who have experience with a range of impairment types, a range of ages and stages. So it'd be really important to have connectors who can work with whānau who have young children with impairments. And similarly, we want people who are really good at working with older parents who now have disabled children who are in their 30s, 40s, and are looking at how they can transition to the next stage in terms of their support for decision making. So looking at how they can get other people involved to support their disabled person. So we're just going to give it a couple more minutes, but if we don't get any more questions, we will finish in the next couple of minutes. So just here's your last chance, get some questions in, and I will do my best to answer them. Just going back to the diversity, just a reminder that in Mid-Central we've got almost half of the people have a learning disability. So we're really looking for people who have experience working with people with learning disabilities. Similarly, a large proportion have autism. So just again, we're really looking for people who can work with those groups or who have autism or a learning disability themselves. The other thing is that we'd welcome applications for people who want to work part-time. So please don't feel that you can't apply for the role if you don't want to work full-time. And of course there will be support available and accommodations to meet the needs of people who have impairments. So please really encourage disabled people in Mid-Central region to think about applying for these jobs. Well, I'm going to give you one more minute, and if no more questions come through, I might take the opportunity to finish early, given it was a slightly restless night having to go and pick somebody up from the airport at 12:30. So I'll just go over the timeframes once more. Manager Applications close on the 2nd of July, Connectors, Kaitohono and Network Builder on the 6th of July. And those are available on the Enabling Good Lives website, www.enablingoodlives.co.nz, or on the Ministry of Health website, moh.govt.nz. Thanks very much for the questions.